sitting in Crownhill Fort, which is an enormous fort with 7 sides in the middle of Plymouth. It was designed really as a consequence of the Crimean War, when Britain and France went to war with Russia, as Russia was threatening the Ottoman Empire, was in danger of capturing Constantinople. The plan of the Allies there was to land behind the major Soviet naval port in the Black Sea, a place called Sevastopol. And then the idea was that they attacked it from the landward side. The war has kind of gone down a little bit in history as being mismanaged, but ultimately they were actually successful. But in being successful, they realized that attacking ports from the landward side would be a really good idea. And if somebody tried to attack our ports, they could do exactly the same. Perhaps in our case, land somewhere like Whitsands Beach, which is a beautiful beach, and then march inland and attack from the soft side of the defences. There were plenty of fortifications along the sea line, but there was very little on the landward side. So there was an enormous building project instigated by Palmerston. It was also partly as a response to Napoleon III, who rose to prominence in France and was becoming a very effective dictator. And the French built a brand new ironclad warship called La Gloire in 1859. And they also massively built up the Cherbourg defences and turned the port into a bit of an armed encampment. And the British were a little bit worried and also a little bit envious about what the French were doing. So Palmerston instigated 3 massive building programs, one around Plymouth, one around Portsmouth, and one around Chapter 3 major ports that serviced the Royal Navy. This is called the Moncrieff Disappearing Gun. Moncrieff being the person who designed it. It's a very clever system in that when it fires, the recoil action of the gun allows the entire gun to sort of go back down beneath the battlements so that they can reload it in safely, and then they can reach it back up and take another shot. With the old-fashioned guns, basically they were exposed whilst firing the gun. So this was a very, very clever design in the Victorian times. As far as I know, there's only a couple of these left. I do know that there is one left in Bermuda, but I think this is the only one where the mechanism still works. And sometimes if you come to the open days, you can actually see the gun being used, although they don't do the recoil bit just because that will put a bit too much strain on the chassis here. But the gun itself does actually work. They did see action in the American Civil War, so this is not a gun that was never used. And you can actually see old photographs of the Americans using it. Which, of course, the American Civil War was also roughly the same time that this fort was being built. So they'll decide this is a breech-loading one. Yes, the old-fashioned ones were muzzle-loading, where you had to literally stick the cannonball down the end that it comes out. These were far more effective because you could stand behind the gun rather than in front of the gun, and it's a far safer place. But, of course, the Moncrieff gun itself, it's even safer still as you're down below the ramparts in relative safety indeed. I was going to say that sometimes these forts are known as Palmerston's Follies because they were never actually used in anger. But of course, the best weapons to have are the ones that you never need to use. And although they weren't used for their intended purpose, at repelling French or Russian invaders, they did actually serve a lot of very interesting military uses. In the First World War, it was actually used as the depot for the Gallipoli campaign, or rather the Suvla Bay campaign, which is like the second part of the Gallipoli invasions. It was also the whole of the Jewish Legion, the first Jewish fighting formation since Emperor Hadrian. That was raised in Crownhill, and they trained here. In the Second World War, it was used to help deal with the Blitz, air raid ordnance, rock fire watching on the ramparts, and in fact on the opposite side of the fort. You can still see some of the trenches that they occupied. So, and it was even used in the Falklands War in 1982 as well.